Banana and Bears Rugby Pod. Oh my God, remember when we were so young and naive?
And you mean last week? I know.
Yeah, last week.
So we just, I think we've started the podcast, but I was going to start with "Hello, darkness, my old friend." How you holding up? Are you all right? There's a cloud over this whole country right now. I can tell you, there's a gloominess over everybody. How are you
There's,
holding up actually in France?
there's one in France as well. No, I feel like Mondays in France are always kind of grim anyway because everything's closed. But just Paris on Sunday was like hell. It was actually like there had been a zombie apocalypse. Like the only people walking around just like weren't talking to each other. Now I was up early because I had to come back to La Rochelle, but like it was grim, like fucking grim.
Yeah.
Um, I'm in a hoop. I am so sad and upset. It was just awful. It was so awful. Sorry, it's a very harsh word to use, but I just cannot describe how heartbreaking it was. Now, I text you on Saturday
Oh, yeah.
after I had signed up to work in the Irish bar.
Yes.
Anyway, you know me. And people
Well, to give everybody a kind of a bit of a backstory here, I was very happily after taking delivery of a big load of timber that I was very happy about. Very nice gentleman dropped it off. And next thing I get a text from Anna. She says, "Tom, I'm so sorry." I went, "Jesus Christ, what's going on?" Just complete brain melt. Should have been in tune with you, but I like to park a rugby match until later on that day because I can't deal with the excitement throughout the fucking day. I can't. I'm good for nothing if I start to think about it. Same with
I
gigs
did
or anything like that. And
I
there's
did think it was like a bit sinister, but I was like, no, I'll text him back straight away so he's not like, oh my God, what's after happening?
yeah. I says, Jesus Christ. I swear for a split second, and then it kind of a bit of subtlety dawned on me. But for a split second, I thought, she's after starting a new podcast without me now. That's what's that.
Oh no.
I was
Oh,
pure upset for a second. I was like, no, she's not. No. Jeez, no, Anna wouldn't do that to me. No, Jesus Christ Almighty. So it was actually, I suppose, in a way, it got my 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 sadness taste buds going.
oh Jesus. That was the first disappointment of the day. But only I made sure that I'd write back to you straight away because I
You
knew it
did.
sounded a bit sinister. But because I had literally pissed you off so much the week before by saying, guess where I am, and I was
Yeah.
on the train. So on I sent another picture of me on the train. Like literally as last minute as the last weekend was, this was like exactly the same. Like exactly the same.
Jesus.
Only I was at home. Now what I needed to do was call the fella in the pub and say, look, if you need me, tell me right here and right now, and I'll be there because you're my priority. And I said I'd work, but if you have someone else that can do it for me, I'm after being offered a ticket for the game, just let me know. And he was like, right, give me a little while there and I'll text you. And he texted me basically 10 minutes later being like, away with you to the match. I started screaming. I was screaming in my room here. I was like, because I was so excited. And literally went online, bought a train, was out the door within half an hour on the way to Paris, just like last week. And fucking hell, yeah.
Well, I replied to you by going, Anna, there's people who have planned their trip for 3 years, like 4 years even. And you you literally pulled the trigger while having a cup of tea, more or less. Like, yeah, right, I'm off to,
Yeah,
the quarterfinal.
yeah.
Jesus.
Two weeks in a row now.
That's, yeah. I mean, it's
Yeah.
quality, because if I got a few messages from people going, hold on, how does somebody do that? I genuinely, like, there was a lad who I ran into who I would not have put down. I knew he was a rugby head, all right, from Kilfeacle, but I would not have put him down as a podcast listener. But he listened and he went, how does that happen? I said, what do you mean, how does it happen? Or Anna can just run away to the rugby match. I went, that's Anna Capeless. Have you not come across Anna Capeless before? Literally, you turn around and all of a sudden she's standing on the moon in an astronaut's outfit going, well, How are you lads? It happened.
Well,
I was cycling down I'm cycling down by the sea, and the next thing NASA decided to give me a go.
yeah, yeah, this is it. Now, to be fair, things are slightly easier that I did move to France.
Of course, of
You
course.
know, moving to France, it wasn't an accident. Like it was quite tactical. You know,
It would
there
seem
was
so. It would
it was
seem
one of it was one of the factors. You know, like well, the fucking World Cup is on. I'll be there for the World Cup and the Olympics potentially next year, and my French will be good.
yes.
So, you know, it's not now. Don't get me wrong; these things I do these things happen to me all the time. Anyway, like I was in Sydney for a day, and then I was needed in Dubai, so I flew back to Dubai for the Dubai Sevens. These kind of things happen to me all the time.
Mm.
But yeah, it was I was great. It was very enjoyable up until like now when I got off the train and got to like the grounds, it was quieter than the week before. Not quiet as in people wise, because there was a lot of people there hanging around, but it was nervy. I feel like people had foregone their like day of drinking
Oh,
because
yes,
it was
you sent me a video of the whatchamacallit lounge. How'd you end up in that lounge anyway? The hospital. Like only you would end up in because you sent me a video. I went, okay, that looks somber enough. You're inside this snazzy looking place. I went, what the fuck is? Because I was expecting a video of you with your like 8 people in a headlock in each arm. Do you know what I mean?
yeah,
Like,
that wasn't the vibe. And you know what? When we were outside, so I had friend of mine had been in touch. And she said, do you want to go to hospitality? And put me in touch with someone else. So this rugby house were yeah, they had the last few free passes, last minute free passes. And they got in touch and were like, yeah, you can come along. And we were so I was like, oh, I might go in a little bit later, but the atmosphere outside wasn't even rocking, so I didn't mind going in and early, and it was actually really nice because they had the match on the Argentina Wales game, and they had Bernard Jackman and Justin what's his name, Justin Marshall,
yes, yes.
talking in a Q&A, and the rugby guy was there.
Oh, I see. He got his photograph with you. Is that Jared, the
Yes,
rugby guy?
yes.
What nationality is he? Is he South African?
He's South African, yeah. South African, but he lives in England and he supports all of the countries.
Smart bastard. At the end of the day,
He's so
rugby
fucking
wins.
funny. His content is so
Oh, it's
good. Like,
brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
but we did an event together years ago for Loose Heads Rugby, so we are kind of connected since then. So, but I'd never met him in person, so that was really fun. And then up to the match, and it was nervy, like you know. But I think genuinely people hadn't been drinking all day because of just the weight of the game,
Of
you know, like
course.
and yeah, but the atmosphere was good and the rugby was brilliant, but they were tired. I think I was
You
saying that too. I
you
think they
text me
looked
and
tired.
I could see something was off. I'm like, okay, it is the All Blacks you're playing, but like there was something off. Maybe a 1 or 2% where because we're watching them so intensely for the last couple of months. I'm like, what? And
Hmm.
then you literally, as I was just looking kind of sideways at the screen, going, what's going on here? Why do
Hmm.
they look a little bit stodgy? Do you know, they
Hmm.
hardly rattle that much. And yes, the line speed is fast. And yes, they are dirty and driving well beyond the fucking ruck the tramps. But what's going on? And you literally text, she goes, Tom, they look knackered. They said they wouldn't be, but they fucking are. I'm looking at it right here, right now. Like,
Yeah.
oh, that makes all the sense. And of course they are. How do you Caelan Doris every week? How do you know what I mean? How do you be that couple
100%.
every week? Like,
100%. You know, you think you're not going to be tired because the occasion, but you can't fight that. That's it was so inevitable. I fucking wrote about it in my column weeks ago. I was like, you know,
yes, yeah,
the layout of the pool games didn't serve Ireland at all. You know, and I was literally watching think being like, if we get through tonight, we are going to struggle against, I don't care who's playing us next weekend, it's World Cup semi final. We're going to struggle against them because they are so tired and like whatever kind of energy they can pull out of their arse for a final. I know everyone kind of at that stage, all your knockout games are coming after each other, but Ireland were tired, man. And I had a nice bird's eye view up high, and you can see all the players. You could see all 30 players. And if you relax your eyes, you can see a black wall all the time, and just an Irish attacking shape that's moving kind of stodgy is a good word to put it. But Mac Hansen definitely wasn't 100%. James Lowe, I wasn't 100%, but I think they were tired.
I knew something was off when Caelan Doris dropped the ball from the get-go. I'm like, oh, Jesus. Oh,
That was a huge
Jesus.
moment.
This...
A really telling sign. And like, I really felt for Ireland because, when they went to the corner, I felt like that was a really tactical kind of, let's get the crowd into it kind of
Yeah.
a thing.
Yeah.
They're not, which I'd prefer that than, an England who just kicks the ball and, leathers the ball and has no character and no fight in them, or no, sorry, that's kind of unfair to say that they've no fight, but like, do you know what I mean? Like, Ireland
Yes.
just
Yeah.
understand like the importance of the crowd, and um
Well, it is
it's
a
just,
symphony. Like, it is break it down for what it is. It's entertainment. It's not actually brain surgery. It's entertainment. We're not saving lives. It's entertainment. So it still all has to have a first act, a second act. It has to have protagonists, i.e. the out halves, and it has to have supporting acts throughout the whole thing. And this is the kick to the corner is absolutely a big peak of drama. You know what I mean?
yeah.
You have to do it, especially when you're such a small nation and rugby is like the
And
third or fourth sport. Like,
yes, and they've said it as well about how much they thrive off the supporters and stuff, and it was definitely a ploy to get the supporters into it so that they could feed off it and get energy from it, probably because as well they were so fucked. Oh, I don't know. Like, I do think, no, what we were talking about just there before we came online. Some Kiwi fucker is abusing me online. Like, I'm sorry now, but the South African fans they're nice in person, and you meet a lot of like older South Africans who are lovely to talk to. Exact same with the Kiwi fans, but the Kiwi and South African fans online are just
oh, I was
horrible, horrible.
I put out a couple of tweets and I was just getting these. I would rarely get toenails, like, but because I don't go onto it or enough. But I was like,
Yeah,
who is this person taking the time to write all these letters and words after it? What? What are you
yeah,
doing, you fucking tit?
yeah.
Um, and
Mm,
I couldn't help but tweet the video footage of the first try and Sevilla's try were forward passes. Good meter in the first
yeah,
one, and a good
yeah.
2 foot in the second one, in his one too. But it was like
Okay.
end of the conversation then. End of the conversation. It was like, so 2 year tries should be chalked off. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, yeah. But they just be like, "Why don't you go and cry about it?" Just like, well, how could you take so much pleasure in someone else losing as opposed to so much joy in yourself winning? Like,
Yeah,
how are you such apples? And like, they have perceived now. There are obviously Irish fans who are assholes as well. Jesus, don't get me wrong, but I just don't see it like online. And I know you shouldn't pay too much attention, but it is a reality, like of how people like behave online and speak to each other online. But it's just like saying that Irish fans were cocky.
yeah.
Now,
I mean,
I wouldn't say that the Irish fans were cocky. I would say we were desperately naive
yeah,
to think that New Zealand wouldn't turn up to a quarterfinal like they did. Do you know, and as shitty as they played in the last few weeks, and losing to France, and South Africa losing to, it's just so funny that they know how to win when it counts, kind of a thing. But like, how we didn't expect someone like Ardi Savea to turn up the way he did,
yeah. I mean,
or the
yeah,
fucking Barretts, or the rest of them. They're some of the best players in the world, and they have been for years. Like, they fucking know what it takes, and they know that the pool games actually don't fucking matter.
no, and it's a pride. I think it's almost an ego and momentum thing an ego in the positive sense thing
Mm.
to, oh, well, we just want to win our pool outright and get, whereas you take somebody like Razzie, as if he could get through on no points, he'd be glad. Do you know, like
Oh yeah,
he
yeah,
doesn't care until the final whistle of the final.
yeah.
That's all that matters. And I suppose the and I was thinking about it too, like who all these absolute parasites were and why they be so heavy coming out of South Africa. When I've had loads of people, I had great time for South Africans and New Zealanders. But here's the thing: when the only sport in your country is rugby,
Mm.
what happens is all the sound people plus all the windy lickers are going to be on the fucking bus as well, unfortunately. So,
True.
do you know, it'd be
Yeah.
like like for the grander scale of things, nearly, well, maybe not so much anymore, but you look at some race like fucking Colombia. They don't think about rugby. They think only about soccer. And in Colombia, they're going to have a load of sound people, but a load of bollockses as well on board who don't know the difference
Yeah.
between cocky and good crack. And also, you see,
Mm.
they when we beat them in the series down there last year at home, beat them on their home patch. That would have like they have a TV channel that's dedicated to rugby, and they don't like
Mm.
much maligned our fucking pundits on Virgin and stuff. And Jesus Christ, as as a comedian, I know, God, he described it. As, like you go back to Matt Williams, Shane Horgan, and Rob Kerner. Rob Kerner. And I mean, it is death, good, bad, or indifference. It's death when it cuts back to them. But it cut back from the 60,000 at the game last week, which you were at, 60,000 fans singing Zombie. And then it cuts back to the three lads. He
Oh
tweeted,
yeah.
he went, Christ above. Cutting back to those three after while watching 60,000 Irish fans singing Zombie in happiness
I
is
know.
like kicking Margot Robbie out of the bed to go and iron the sheets.
Oh, I saw that.
It was fucking very good.
I
But
saw that.
but you know what? The only thing that is they give it to you black and white and straight. But you watch the sensationalism of how they have to do it in South Africa and how they have to do it. It's almost very
Mm.
American how they do it. They're all sitting around like a
Mm.
fake bar and stuff, with like a fake beer in front of them. Going, so here, I'll tell you how to. And you're like, oh Jesus Christ! Could you just? I tend not to watch any of the punditry at all because I'm like, no, I just get angry with this shit. But what it does is it has to, like they have cheerleaders in South Africa. If you have to have cheerleaders, do you know what I mean? Like they've, this sounds shite going on before games. Is just start the fucking game.
Yeah.
Whereas, and what it is to do is it is good for the game, growing the game, I guess. But when you grow the game, unfortunately, yeah, bring in a lot of absolute fucking knobs as well, and they can't help
Yeah.
themselves. They're like,
True. That's true too. But that is a good point about it being like, yeah, the number one sport there.
they
I
fuck
just
all
like
else. They've nothing.
it
They fuck all else.
so let me tell you about the fella that was sitting behind me at the game. So first of all, and I actually recognize him. I feel like someday I'm going to remember his name. There was an Irish fella that was twisted. He like he didn't even know there was a game of rugby on.
Oh,
He
Jesus.
he was langers, and he was apparently sitting in the wrong seat. I didn't realize he was with the gang of Kiwi fans. Anyway, the Kiwi fans were like sitting just behind me, and like they were fine, and we were saying good luck, and like they sang the anthem, we sang the anthem, blah blah blah. And obviously for the haka, uh, also for a 9 p.m. kickoff haka, like the fucking place was rocking, and like the fields of Athenry rang out like while the haka was on, and also like that's this like lay down a challenge thing,
Mm.
like it's laying down a challenge. It's not like how could you sit and give another team like the silence for the haka when you're about to play knockout. Like it's going to be one of the biggest games. Could be one of the biggest games of
Yeah,
your rugby career.
I just want to jump in there, Anna.
Yes.
I toyed with that in my head when I'm watching it, and
Mm,
there's something about this absolute silence atonement that
mm,
fries a kicker's head so many
mm.
times.
Yeah.
And there was something I would love in a parallel universe to see what it would look like in utter fucking silence and just demonic staring in utter fucking silence to go, Grant, you can do your
And I
fucking
think
dance. Watch this.
normally, yes, normally for an Irish match, and I feel like maybe in the Aviva it would happen, but not with when 50,000 people have traveled to Paris. I
I get it.
thought it was going to be quiet, and I was kind of and people around me were kind of saying like, shh, at the start of it, but the fields just took off, and it was like just taking up in the moment. And like, anyway, the guy behind me was like making, after New Zealand scored, like making like fucking wanker gestures at like all the Irish fans around him, and I was like, stop that. I literally just told him, like, stop fucking doing that. Like, sit down and shut up. He's like, that's what you get for disrespecting the haka. Hey, lady, that's what you get for disrespecting the haka. And I was like, okay, whatever. And I literally just, I just turned around. I was like, I don't want to talk to this fella. And at the end of the game, he came over and he was like, that's what you get for disrespecting the haka. And I was like, sorry now. I was like, where do you draw the line between laying down a challenge and disrespecting the haka? Because I know when New Zealand teams play each other and Maori and Islander teams play each other, when they do their war dance, the opposite team doesn't wait for them to finish. They do it at the same time. It's laying down the challenge. It's not standing and waiting for one to finish. It's meeting it head on. So you're talking absolute shite. You don't
Yeah.
have to stay quiet for a haka. You challenge it with whatever. So like, it was just so horrible. Like, anyway, it's a fucking World Cup final. There's out there, and he like was like, yeah, you're right, I'm sorry. And he was like, can we have a hug? And I was just like,
Ew.
yeah. And I was like,
Severe ew.
when you like give someone a hug, you're like trying to stay as far away from them as possible, but still give them the hug, like just to keep things calm.
Yeah.
So that was a really annoying moment. We'd already lost at that stage. I was absolutely bawling my eyes out into my flag. Like, the fella next to me didn't want to leave. Him and his wife were just sitting there, like rubbing my shoulder, because they were like, "Are you okay? You okay?" Like, no. There was loads of people bawling, crying, like just crying, and no one
Oh,
was
sure.
like, talking, and everyone was yeah, it was awful. It was so sad.
I mean, yeah, I was. I
But
was.
they should, sorry,
Yeah.
and I want to hear how about how you watched it and stuff. But just the last thing on kind of the stadium, they should have played Zombie.
Out of respect, for sure they should. For sure they should have.
They should have played it as like a sign off, because it's not a happy song. It would have been like the perfect way to, and I was like, please, and the team was making its way around, and they played like I Will Survive and some other shite.
Oh
And I was
God.
like, please play Zombie. I feel like that's what I need right now. I feel like I need to sing with everyone, sing and cry with everyone, and sing Zombie. And they never fucking played it. I'd say they were afraid to or something, but yeah, they never played it. And I wish they did so much, and they fucking didn't. Anyway, Shinny, that's
So
the end of that.
I suppose coming from another team's point of view, you're like, what the fuck are you doing playing Zombie? We just won, and you're playing. They've been your favorites throughout this fucking thing. That for sure you could see by some of the punditry talking on other, from other nations and stuff like that. They're going, yeah, it's fucking, yeah, it's great seeing all the Irish, and it's, for fuck's sake, they fucking love these bastards. You just knew by the way they were grinding their teeth, they were just sick to their bollocks of them, like. But
Yeah, I think that's fair if that team has been knocked out. It's not just about the winning team. It's about the team fucking going home, and like fifty
yeah,
thousand people and hundreds of thousands of fans who've been fucking spent all the money coming over to Paris. Like, they should have played it. And I wouldn't have given a fuck. And I don't think the New Zealand fans that were there would have given a fuck either, because it's
no,
like they get it. Well, at least most of them would. I don't know about this bollocks who's sitting behind me, and probably, of course, there'd be someone with a problem with it. But if it was me and I'd knocked out a potential favorite, I'd like to sing their song. You know.
yeah, but you could see, I saw interviews afterwards from New Zealand fans and stuff, and for the most part, they were like, "Whoo, Jesus!" They were like, "Fucking hell!" I mean, if we're gonna beat anybody or play anybody, favorite people, there didn't seem to be malice in them, and quite a lot of them were like rubbing their brow, going, "Fuck, who got away with that one?" In a
Yeah,
sense, like,
yeah.
because you put a couple of factors in, like I mentioned earlier, their two of their tries should have been chalked off. Sam Whitelock's so-called penalty, there was no clear release. These are nitpicking. Johnny Sexton
But
had.
that's just how it just determines how close it was.
Oh yeah, Johnny Sexton hooks that one, we're within a point, i.e. up into drop goal range, which we absolutely would have gotten. So these things, like, you could see by the way they were talking, they're like, Jesus Christ, we couldn't shake the bastards, which they couldn't. And that's some going for an Ireland team that were fucked for the last fucking 30, 40 minutes, like 30, 35 minutes. They were fucked. Especially 30 phases to put together, and their legs were gone. Poor old Tyke Byrne at one stage got the ball. He was like, just fucking hit me. It's like, just fucking hit me. I don't care. I'm bollocksed.
Yeah.
It was, yeah, and little things like, like Finlay getting held up by Barrett. Sure, Barrett's strong and all, but, on another game with a bit more juice in him, he would have just, he would have rolled out of it. Like, he wouldn't have been held up by a fucking center. Not saying he isn't a strong man, but he wouldn't have held up a fucking prop. Not a fit.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Where
did you watch it? Tell me about your weekend.
I was like that. I had no gigs purposely because I've had this in the calendar for over a year, so I had no gigs. Didn't take any turn down gigs. I'm like, no. And Natasha was like, maybe we should probably watch this together, should we? Because it's, she likes sports, she likes rugby to a degree. You know what I mean? She's like, I am happy if we're all happy. She likes going to games more than watching on the telly. She gets no real good out of it on the telly, which I totally understand. She likes being, and her favorite thing is Musgrave Park because it's so kid friendly and it's so happy and bubbly down there. And you're right by the pitch. But then next thing she kind of double looked at me. She goes, do you want to watch it out in the office because you're going to be shouting? I went, I'm going to be shouting. She goes, all right, chat to you at halftime. So I was like, yeah, all right. And like that, just stood in at Ireland's call, and that was it. Sat down, and I mean, the second that final whistle went, I just out, gone. I couldn't look at anything. Left the phone in the office, walked away. I was devastated. I just couldn't. I just had to went in and watched some very happy movie, and just kind of faded out. Because of course she'd gotten the update on her phone. She goes, we won't talk about it. I said, no, it's fine. It's fine. She goes, how was Mac's leg? Because I thought we talked at breakfast that morning about Mac's leg. And Fionn, he's 4. He's like, so what's the deal with Mac's leg? I'm like, it looks like it's going to be okay, Fionn. He goes, great. Anyway, are we having Cheerios? I'm like, we're having Cheerios. So it was all very serious, upbeat conversations. So the day had built nicely. And but it was in that moment I went, I can't, not in that. I can normally deal with moments fairly well, but I'm like, I don't want to. I just don't want to deal with this now. And do you know what? I haven't had takeout. I haven't had Chinese purposely, just trying to eat clean in my dotage. But Sunday evening, I was like, let me just get a Chinese. Just like being dumped or something. I was like, and I swear to God, I called into the parents and they would never, ever eat takeout. And they were like, you know what, it'd be best now, Tom, I think altogether now. And my mother is a cook. Like, she's like, do you know what?
Yeah.
That sounds tremendous.
I'd say the takeaways were busy, all right.
I'd say they were absolutely riddled. Because even Carmen, the very nice Chinese lady that works in there, she's like, tough all night last night, Tom. I was fucking twas, Carmen. Fucking twas now. Twas. She threw in prawn crackers and something else, a couple of spring rolls for free for me. I was like, Jesus Christ, you're a great woman. It was just, it was walking around like the Walking Dead. Everybody just couldn't believe it because there was just so much happiness surrounding all the hell that is in the earth right now. And this little pocket of happiness was around us. And then pop, gone. Not that we deserved it or anything like that, but if you took tear shock, fatigue out of the equation and our route to the final, and you just looked on a paper and went, well, we fucking kicked these fuckers' arses and they've been playing fucking nobodies and they've been fucking losing matches. Let's fucking go.
Do you know what's terrible about it is that maybe this was just me being very, very pessimistic after, but I said to a friend of mine outside, I think that now I will never, ever believe that we can win this. Because having had the hope so strongly And like having had one of the best teams and you know, being where we were and this was our fucking time to win it. I
But
feel like now, like the inferiority complex is just going to be even stronger than it ever has been. And you know what's terrible is that like halfway, the moments in the match where we were behind and it was worrying, and I was like, oh yeah, this feels normal. This feels like how it always has. This is so pessimistic, like coming from me, but it's just that inferiority complex, which probably I don't know if that's a common thing and other people feel the same, but that's not what they have in New Zealand, South Africa, you know, teams that are used to like winning.
I guess so. But again, like if our, you know, if hurling was a worldwide sport, we might probably feel the same way too. It's like, get the fuck out of here. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Yeah. Do you know? But I was like that all day Sunday. I was genuinely going, well, Jesus Christ, I don't know if I'll ever, if I've ever,
I'll never love again.
I'll never. And I have to get it tattooed on me and everything. How will I get? But I literally wrote the word. I swear to God, I wrote this morning at 5 a.m. I went, just think of the future. Andy Farrell has put that mindset into those lads in 3 years. Can you imagine what 7 years is going to be like? I don't see Johnny Sexton running for the fucking hills either. I think he will be given a role a la Paul O'Connell.
Yeah.
You can't get, the man he's absolutely obsessed. He can't walk away from it. Like, you know what I mean? Completely.
Yeah, agreed.
And I think what's coming through, have a look at Joe McCarthy. Do you know what I mean? That's what's coming through. Jack Crowley, bigger, stronger, faster than Johnny Sexton. And he's only 23. He's bigger, stronger, and faster than Johnny Sexton has ever been. Now, if he has a mentor in Johnny Sexton, and I don't see rugby going away, good God, in this country, I think we go again. And we obviously we go again. But I think maybe with a small bit of cop on, no harm. Do you know what I mean? We've never been in a place where we genuinely thought we could do anything. This is our first year where we actually thought we could do something. So next time round, at least we can go, all right, so we won't, you know, and also.
Yeah, and knowing how close we were.
Yeah, I mean, super, like, so, like, the fucking tiny, I hate that phrase, the fucking small margins, but it literally was like a couple of things the ref could have picked up different, a couple of things that could have happened a bit differently. Do you know, like fucking, if say that pass went to hand out of Mac and okay, your Aaron Smith did get the line, he did get 10 minutes for it, but if it did go to hand, like all of a sudden we're 2-3 meters at worst from their try line. You know, there was cover coming across. Little tiny things like that fucking go your way. You get the rub of the green, and I don't know what we discussed it at the start of our series, but I don't know what's going on with the TMOs and the replays. I know it's France, but like, how the fuck do you not get a look back at a try from a couple of different angles, like just to have an old goo? Like, the URC has better camera footage. Now, I know they were trying to speed up the game and stuff, and that's grand if it's a foot in touch or somebody tackles somebody a bit fucking weird or whatever. But like, what the fuck? Like, let's have a look at these things. And Bundyaki gets a fucking head into the chin. Nah, drive on. 'Tis the finest. What do we not get it? Look, we are the spectators. These tiny things. I would think there's no way a leader like Andy Farrell will let their heads drop. Not a fucking hope. He'll point out these things to him. And like, while we've all been sitting as normie folks on the fence and watching on and going, I really hope they with our big eyes just going, you're all amazing. You lost. I hate you all. Whereas they put so much mental health or mental work into their ability. You know what I mean? if
Yeah.
that won't just fall off, yeah, it'd be class if they'd go further, but that just won't drop off.
No, I agree with that. That I think Andy Farrell has it managed really well, but also they'll be fucking gutted. Like poor Mac Hansen, he literally just went straight down the tunnel. He didn't even talk to anyone. But like even like Hill Doris, he'll never forget that drop ball. Like few like Andrew Porter and the scrums, and like it's just a New Zealand thing just to do their homework so well
Oh,
and bring somebody to the
incredible.
table that hadn't been brought already. They're just fucking smart, like.
Well, you
Um,
got I didn't want to text John Fogerty, like, but a few times I've texted him down through the years going, is that what I think I'm looking at? And he'll go, no, what's happening there is, I go, right. But I think if I talked about and you said it's a thing that happens, the whole scrum will just come back ever so slightly just to make it look, like we pulled one off against South Africa. 3 times Porter got pinged from going his arse going out the way. I think they softened it enough that that's what was going and pulled the scrum that way. That's what was going to happen because the man can't walk sideways. So he is going to just go wherever his head is being dragged. And as soon as he's there, and he's well known for it, he has form for it. So as soon as his arse
yeah,
pops out once, all day long, gotcha,
yeah,
gotcha.
they will have practiced that. They will have like
Yeah,
given someone the role of being Andrew Porter in training. Yeah.
it was it was hard. And poor old Porter was looking up, going, "What the fuck?" But I mean, you're asking that guy. Can you imagine, like the miles he's put up on the clock? We won't see him till after Christmas.
He deserves a very well earned break, that man.
By Jesus, he does.
But that, you shouldn't have a player in the quarterfinal that's played that much rugby.
No, no, you shouldn't. But I don't. I mean, it was the risk. They rolled the dice. It was the risk. Boys? Can you go 5 fucking games hard? We'll say from the Tonga match onwards. Can you go 5 games hard? Of course we can. All the stats say we can. But like South
That's
Africa, the
stupid because,
juice.
of course, the players will say that. Of
Yeah,
course, they'll
imagine
say
the
that.
juice it would squeeze out you to play South Africa that night. Fucking hell! And then you go up against Scotland, and then you got them
Yeah.
you got fucking New Zealand. Like when you comparatively, and I don't want to get into it too much, but comparatively, look, even England are like, I don't know. How did this happen? You can kind of see it by some of the players are like, oh,
Yeah.
sheesh. Pulling on their collars a small bit going, well, I guess we ended up here. And you're like,
Yeah.
what the fucking hell, lads? This can't be right to set it up. We spoke about it last week that how lopsided it all was. That should have been those should
And
have been
like,
the semi-finals.
I met a Welsh girl just after the final whistle, just after Wales been knocked out, and I was like, "Oh fuck, I'm so sorry." And she was like, "Yeah, it's shit and very disappointing." She was like, "But also at the same time, they'd had such a bad year of prep
Oh,
that any positive news was like a bonus. Like they were expecting to crash out, as have England been. So anything is like a bonus for them now. I think England really are expecting to have their holes handed to them next week, or at least the fans are. It's almost a nicer place to be than
yeah.
being like thinking you can fucking win the fucking thing. But also Fiji, like similar, where they were kind of, the golden boys, and they were like everything positive was like a plus.
Yes.
um but France, like, as there's some tiny level of comfort in knowing that another country is going through
I
what we're
know.
going through.
I
I feel like,
know. I felt bad about watching the match. I was like, gee, I get you, lads, but thanks for being there first. Cheers, thanks.
yeah, thanks so much
Thanks.
for putting yourselves out just for us, just so we wouldn't be on our own. Gutted for France, my God. And again, 1 point, and
Yeah.
like, what a fucking error. Like, now, to be honest, I kept falling asleep when it was on, so I had to watch it back to it. I literally woke up towards the end of the game, and it was like the final whistle, and South Africa won by 1 point. I was like, oh my God, it went on Twitter, and everyone's like, that's the greatest game of rugby I've ever seen. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And like South Africa made a lot of errors in that game as well. Like
Yeah, I mean,
daily knock-ons, and like giving away penalties and like you know, a lot of people are giving out about the referee, but the referee gave France a lot of chances as well.
He did. I mean, the big contentious part, excuse me, was of course Colby chasing down the kick.
Oof,
I mean, he was
that
off
was
the line.
brilliant.
He was off the line. There was the
Was he
argument.
offside? Was he?
Yeah, he was offside. Yeah, he was about 2 meters beyond it.
You
And I mean,
can't. I haven't seen like a proper replay of it.
yeah, no, it's on. It showed up on Instagram. It showed up. Of course, you won't see a pro. This is the pure. I don't know what the
Um,
fuck is going on, but like the camera system in whatever's going on, how that
yeah,
wouldn't be. Oh, let's have a look. Now, there's nearly like a rule sometimes. Like if as Richie McCaw would back in the day would find himself, and he just never really got pinged, and Brian O'Driscoll didn't really get pinged either because you're like, I'd say they probably know what they're doing, kind of a thing. Whereas Tezin Colby is as fast as a cheetah. He literally raced a cheetah for DHL one time. He's
oh
as
yeah.
fast as him for the first 20, 30 meters anyway. I wonder, does the ref kind of go, like it's not like Etzebeth took off and got there, because he'd need a 20-meter fucking run up. But you're kind of looking at Tezin going, I didn't see where he took off from, but I'd say he's fast enough to get there all the same. Like, do
But
you know?
I actually, I did we talk about this last week, or maybe we didn't get around to it. But I had it in my head that I wanted to talk about this because, um, a lot of the refereeing decisions. Sorry, I think I had messaged you about how much I thought the refs were in favor of the tier one teams.
Yes, you did.
So
Yeah, yeah.
basically, the point you're making, about someone like Chesney Colby, you're going to be like, oh, well, he's so fast. Obviously, that's just what happened because he's so fast. But it's like, now I hate talking about the refs after the games, and I hate bringing up like the refs because you have to have a ref, number one, and like number two, giving out about them just takes away from like your enjoyment of the game, really. But
Yeah.
I do think that there's this like, you know, if a teacher was at the top of the room and the teacher heard someone talking and turned around, the teacher would know who to look for. Even though
Yes.
she has no evidence of who has spoken, she will look where she thinks the noise is coming from. Your star pupil is never going to get, looked at. So the star pupil knows that they can talk and they won't get in trouble.
Yeah.
It's like that. That's what because I don't think, because a lot of people have been saying that there's like conspiracy, and that World Rugby are in favor genuinely, that there's these discussions to say, we'll give the tier one teams a bit of a softer hand because we want them in the knockout stages. Like, that definitely doesn't happen. I do think there's like this, an unconscious bias is basically what I'm talking about, but it's just a little easier. It's a little easier than that, where you're like, if Ireland are playing, Samoa, Romania, and there's a problem, scrum goes down, you're going to blame Romania.
Of course. Yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, yeah. Yeah.
So, if something happens, like, oh, well, it's obviously not them, they're number one in the world, or, oh, it's obviously not South Africa, or he's obviously on side because he's such a good player, or he obviously hasn't gone off his feet. That must be a clear turnover. There's that, because they have to make those decisions so quickly that if you have an unconscious bias, that will play a part.
Of
You don't have
course.
time to think about it.
Of course. Other than that, you use fucking AI. You know what I mean? It's a human you're
Yeah.
using. And to be fair to Barnes on the Whitelock thing, like, I looked and I looked again, and he had it blown, because you have to blow it in real time. You have to blow it quickly. But no doubt, if he looked back at it again, fuck. Do you know? Because he'll get a report. But I mean, I don't know. We were never explained fully what the TMO's new role was, like, because there was a time when his headset went or whatever, and he couldn't hear him. But in that, surely be to God, at TMO would have looked and went, no clear relief, for fuck's sake. But also, he's probably seen Sam White like 150 caps. He's probably refed fucking half of them, and probably went, sure, Sam Whitelock, he knows what he's at. And Ireland look
Exactly.
fucked.
Yeah.
Ireland look fucked. Do you know? So
Yeah.
he was probably waiting for something like that. Do you know? He's probably waiting for a poach. Do you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
again,
Oh.
it should, in my opinion, like, as I think I tweeted about it or something, but it was like, I would have preferred if we weren't fucking there nitpicking about referees and shit like that. You would have wanted him
Mm.
buried at that point, you know.
Mm.
Um, but look at,
Just goes to show how close it was. Because when
but
it's that
that,
close, those things are factors.
yeah, yeah.
When it's when people are giving out about the refs when there was clearly no influence on the game, that's different. But look, this is it. Fucking, I'd have to move to Australia next.
Well, you'll have the Lions series, and you'll have whatchamacallit as well. You'll have the World Cup as well. Can you believe it's on in Australia, and Australia couldn't give one fuck about rugby right now?
Yeah, I know. It'd be good crack though, I'd say maybe.
Ah, be class. It's Australia. It'd be class. Like it's going to be good crack. Like I mean, Australians like they are good banter. Like at the best times. Now they have fair toenails themselves. Like, but at the same time, like it should be interesting because obviously there was a lot of hope, national hope around France going ahead. I mean, the fact of Jesus Christ, number 1 and 2 are out. That we haven't even hit the semi-final yet, which is insane. But anyway, um,
Oh, France.
I know.
DuPont. The difference though, that French team, I don't know if they'll have any retirees. Am I overlooking someone there? Like that French team can remain the same, like the Irish team can't. The Irish team is built around Johnny Sexton. So
Yeah,
that's gonna change. So the Irish team in its current form will now have to change. Like I'm not saying for better or worse, but it'll just
but
in comparison with the French team, they can continue their mission.
but isn't that an absolutely fine thing? Like, I mean, look at what South Africa are a different team than they were last time, and it doesn't all run through the out half. I know
Yeah.
it's not horses for courses, like, and it is comparing apples and oranges when you've got humans that size, like, but it's it's all like they can change their style completely, and I've kind of no doubt. I kind of came up with a conspiracy theory in my head the other day that
Yeah.
Andy Farrell
Mm.
is, the way Sean Edwards kind of changed the game on uh tackle, on defense. He kind of
Yeah.
changed the game on defense, and he brought a very rugby league esque style to it.
Yeah.
If you look at like James Lowe is a big man,
Mm.
you could put him in nearly at number 8. You look at Gary Ringrose, you look at Bundyaki, you could put them in the back row as well. You could put
Mm.
Caelan Doris and Josh Van der Vlier out. I think he's creating rugby league players in all of them, in that they're all nearly turning into the one human. Like rugby league players, yeah, they have names like scrum halves and stuff, but sure, they're all the fucking same size, like
Mm.
monsters. It seems to be, but it would seem everybody is now able to do the same thing. Like you've lads props fucking, flicking the ball from the back of a ruck like a scrum half. It's
Yeah.
kind of it's it's taking responsibility off like he's taking the heavy weight off the out half. I think now, like Johnny isn't getting melted like he used to get melted. Do you know?
Yeah.
Like he's not always at first receiver. So I reckon it might be an evolution of the game, and it'd be very interesting to see. I'm very excited to see where he takes it, because if he had 3 years like that, and his first fucking year was shit, so he's had 2 years.
Is he staying around, by the way?
I can't see him. Where the fuck's he gonna go? Borthwick is signed in, is locked in. So where's he gonna go?
Well,
Where would he want to go?
yeah.
Fucking beautiful house in D4. Where's he gonna? Where would you go? Like,
I feel like now that they lost, I feel like he'll stay around. But
oh, for
if
sure.
they won, I felt like he might have been.
Yeah, on to the next challenge. Yeah, yeah, yeah. But he strikes me as a sort of man who is a proper honourable person. Do you know the kind of way? Fucking job's not done yet. I'm focused. He'll stick around till his fucking hair falls out. Like he strikes me as that kind of a bloke that he ain't going anywhere. And who would get rid of him? Like, do you know, his
Yeah.
attitude is so good. He,
Yeah.
family and friends brought into the fucking team room, and of course they were bemoaning that this morning. They were like, maybe that's too much distraction. Like, oh, fuck off. Like, you know what I mean? It's still a game at the end of the day. Like, it's still,
Mm.
it's still a work, but it's still a fucking game. Relax. Like,
Yeah.
it seemed to work absolutely fine to get us number 1 for fucking 18 months. We held the number 1 spot and beat everybody. That's the one thing. We beat
Yeah.
everybody worth beating in the fucking world in the last 18 months. Do you know? So, and I know we got no fucking medals for it. Okay, a Grand Slam, fair enough. But, you know, It's
So it's just coming down to like one game in a very hefty tournament. I don't know who was saying to me like, "Oh, they let the occasion get to the game." And I was like, "Did they?"
I don't. Oh God, I don't think so at all. I think they were absolutely geared up to it. And at first, I was thinking maybe we were a bit lax, maybe a bit chill going into it. They were, but
Yeah,
I think when you text me at 50 minutes, I went, fuck, of course, because I'd worried about fatigue the week previous, but I was like, no, I trust them. They say they're fine. I believe them, for they are professional men.
that's like players with like their fucking elbows hanging off would be like, "I'm fine, I can play on." Or even me last week, I was supposed to play on Sunday, and then the coach like came over and was like, "Look, I'm just ruling you out." And I was like, "What?" Like I was so annoyed. I just wanted to play, and it's just a normal reaction for a player. Like I can fucking play. I'm grand. Like you're counting on adrenaline because you know what adrenaline can do for your body, and you
Yeah,
know that when you're in the moment, you at least expect that you'll be able to fucking play the same game you've played 1,000 times. But like as soon as then it dawned on me, I was literally like, actually, yeah, he was absolutely right to do that. I'm so not ready to play.
yeah.
So every player will say, yes, I can fucking play. So it's not, you know, I don't know who. There's no blame to be put on anyone for anything. But like and Ireland, like they didn't have a choice. They had to do it that way. But if you're relying on the players to be like, yes, we'll be fine, that's a stupid thing to rely on. I don't
Probably
think they did, but
it probably I would say that plan was from way out. They were like, look, we've no fucking choice. Let's look at that. Now, would I have gone full board with Tonga? No, I don't think so. Let the lads have a trot against Romania, but Jesus Christ, I don't think I would have gone full board against Tonga. But you're kind of, I guess, you're going, well, we need to warm up for. But listen, hindsight is grand. We're all fucking thinking it was the best idea ever. Of course you can. Just suck it up, drink it. Lucas said you'd be the fucking finest. But
I called it. I called
it,
it weeks ago.
there's not much you could do though, because you don't want to disrespect Scotland either. Because you're like, these are kind of fucking good. We can't disrespect them by putting out.
No, but I
Put
think they should have backed themselves more to turn up against South Africa. Um, and rotated the squads earlier on. But like I said, you don't have a choice really. But also at the same time, losing against South Africa, it actually wouldn't have mattered.
no, no, it
They,
wouldn't.
they,
Yeah,
um,
I didn't fear France more than people say, oh, France at home. And you're like, well, they didn't fucking count for much in the end. They fucking still lost.
yeah,
So
doesn't matter really. It doesn't
um,
matter who you fucking play because everyone is going to be at like the top of their game unless you're absolutely bollocks.
yeah, which I mean, credit to Ireland, they were absolutely cream crackers, but they still fucking damn near fucking they damn near got them in the end, but
I know, I
it
know,
wasn't to
I
be.
know.
Hey, I mean, if we're feeling bad and the country's feeling bad, can you imagine being Johnny fucking Sexton? Do you know what I mean? Can you imagine? Like, because that fella is so deeply, that cuts so deep. That will live with him for fucking ever. If you listen, you listen to like O'Gara still talks about it. Gone, he can name kicks from like 12 years ago that still eat at him. Like,
Mm.
can you imagine? Can you imagine that poor bastard? How he'll
Mm.
never get rid of that demon? Like,
I'm just disappointed that the plug gets pulled so suddenly. Like
yeah,
Dan Bigger like alluded to that, saying that like you have all this expectation. You're not thinking about, oh, if we lose, da da da. You don't think about it, or you don't talk about it, and then all of a sudden, bang, it's over. It's
gone.
like
You're out of the WhatsApp group. That's it.
it's like wanting to go back in time. Wanting to just maybe go back in time just so you can think about it a little bit more. If you know you're going to lose, would you have prepared slightly differently in order to kind of welcome the news a little bit more? But it was like all of a sudden, like, oh my god, that was it. That was
Yeah.
that was the end, and we didn't even know it. Like, So tell Johnny Sexton you love him every day in case it's the last time. Basically, is the lesson we've all learned.
Much like the Garth Brooks song, "If Tomorrow Never Comes." Do you know what I mean? It's the same
Amen.
kind of thing, really. It's
It's the exact same.
it's exact same. Hey, the URC starts next weekend, and at least we can get that shit out of her. Well, we
Oh
go.
God.
I think we should see it out. Given that you are, you've been going to the games, we should see out this bloody World Cup. We can't. It'll be unprofessional of us not to see it out. And I don't know who I swear on my life, for the first time ever, I'm kind of rooting for England in a weird kind of way. I
I'm
don't.
definitely rooting for England because I think that they're going to get hammered next week.
Yeah, I think they
You never
are.
know either. They could pull something out of the bag. It's still, like we say, and we've talked about this before, talking about how shite England were at the time. It's still Mara with Toji.
Yeah,
And it's still, those play like Courtney Laws and some of the best. Like if they could, somehow just make a click where they perform like they used to, and fucking got to the World Cup final the last time. You never know.
I tell you, I'm with them. I'm with them because I kind of like the fact that they've
Argentina.
had their shoulders up, kind of going, I don't know.
I know, I kind of love it as well. And even
Yeah,
though it's pure bollocks because it should have been France
yeah.
and Ireland. But look, there's nothing we can do about that now anyway. And also, I keep forgetting who was in the other side of the draw. Argentina, like, I just,
Yeah, good night,
I just
thanks. Good night and thanks.
fuck them. Oh, Jesus. Like, and sorry, I feel bad saying that now because I have my Argentina jersey and I'll support Argentina as well next weekend. I'll support Argentina and England just to kind of shake it up. But I actually, as potholy as the fans have got, there are some South African, New Zealand players that I absolutely adore, and
Oh yeah.
I'm looking forward to seeing them play. And I actually couldn't give a fuck who wins. Fuck the two of them. I hate them all. Uh, love them at the same time because I think they're, I just take so much pleasure in watching them, and I just don't give a fuck who wins now.
Yeah. On England. I said that through my hands in case my mother hears me.
He's singing Swing Low.
I don't think I'll go that far, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, cool. And then
Ireland beat Kazakhstan 109-0.
I wrote a note of that somewhere in my book. I just to show. I mean, there was a low representation for Munster girls, which has kind of annoyed me a small bit, like when the selection was made. But
Yeah, I'd like a few more Munster girls in there, but 109-0, yeah. Look,
Jesus, yeah, like it just goes to show that they've no business being in that tier. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
They've
yeah,
no business, but it is what it is, and
yeah.
they'll make it back out of there. They will make it back out of there.
Yeah,
But
it is what it is. So you might as well score more than 100 points. You
oh,
might as well put as many points down as you can. So
has an Ireland senior team, men or women, ever put 100 plus on somebody before? I can't remember Ireland, the men's team.
Good question. That's good. I might find out the answer to that now. And they've Colombia next week. I don't think it'll be quite as
Have they Colombia? And I just mentioned Colombia, not giving a fuck about rugby.
Yeah. The girls are in WXV3. So that'll be good to watch. As long as, and I've started another column for Rugby Pass about WXV. So so I'll be writing about
that's
WXV.
huge news. You're writing for Rugby Pass now.
Yes.
That's true. Geez, that should have been the top of the show. That's fucking great news. That's after brightening me up no end.
Great.
That's great.
Yeah, you can read all about that. But basically just writing about WXV3. So I can talk a bit about that again next week in the Colombia game, and as long as Ireland are able to learn from everything, I actually don't mind what, because it doesn't matter. Like there's no qualification process from this. They've got a bit of a safety net to kind of perform how they want and do what they want, but like the Six Nations is what really counts. It just the tricky thing is that the other Six Nations are in the higher ranked tournaments, so they've got good lot of prep to do. But they've been full time. There's some players there that've been full time for almost a year now. So as long as I've feeling kind of positive about it, like I'm trying to be like hopeful and
hey,
as encouraging as I can be.
New Zealand just went through Uruguay, fucking Namibia, and Chile. I'll repeat that again. Chile, and then beat us. So do you know, like, if nothing else, they learned where the fucking try line is. So the girls will sure as shit know where the fucking try line is when the Six Nations rolled around. You know what I mean?
Do you know what's so funny as well? Do you know, like underneath it, like, and you have to, post the results, and as well, this is the way it is for now for these teams and for this competition. Like that's why it's been created, so
Yeah.
that scorelines like this happen less and less. But everyone, like, all fucking toenails are coming to kind of, what's the fucking point of this? This is
Yeah.
stupid. Women should be playing rugby. How could you 109-0, blah, blah, blah. It's like, dude, this just happened in the men's game. So, like, shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
You know, these scores are familiar to, but when you jump between the ranks that much, when you have to play across the ranks this much, these are the score lines that happen. So anyway, that's the
Right.
crack. I don't know if anyone will listen to this week. If I was a listener, I would listen to this week.
Do you know what? They may listen to us quicker than they'd listen to maybe their hard pundits and their hard journalists, because they know this is a warm hug and we're with you. Big Blanky now will tuck you in on the sofa and put on the never-ending story and a big cup of cocoa.
Never-ending story.
Yeah, which is kind of indicative of what's fucking happened to us again in the quarterfinal again.
Oh my god!
But look, you're on the luck, Dragon. I have huge faith in the future of what's coming, because if you're a poor Scotland supporter, you'd be like, oh fuck, our lads are playing like literally. Them lads are playing out in the middle of nowhere at the minute, like they're 20s. They've got nothing coming through. We've got unbelievable young players coming through. You know, they're coming through straight into the Andy Farrell fucking, you know, sitting room. Oh, you know.
I have a question though.
Yes.
Is there any likelihood that some Irish team crossed a funeral years ago and never told anyone, and the priest put a curse on them?
Much like Mayo back in the curse of Mayo, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
I wonder.
And they never fucking told anyone because they know that they'd be headhunted then.
Did we do something? Do you know, myself and a friend of mine have another podcast called The Tom and Jerry Show. You'd like it. It's silly. It's very silly. And it makes for easy listening. And we pick subjects that interest us and we do a loosey-goosey, we won't call it a deep dive, but we do a dive of sorts into things. And we picked pishogues the other day. And we did an episode on pishogues for our out of Ireland listeners. Pishogues are like kind of curses and ne'er-do-well fairy kind of folk and whatnot. And Celtic, did have a lot of it in Wales as well, and a bit in Scotland, this kind of old pre-Christian mythology and stuff like that. And there's so many things that the Ireland team could have run across back in the day. I'm telling you now. I'm telling you now that somebody could have, if May Eve, somebody caught a caught. We should look at the rugby calendar and see in May Eve, because the eve of May, if you have badness to do to a neighbour, that's the time to do it. That is, yeah, you put a couple of rotten eggs around their property. Curtains. Tell you now. Even down to simple things, Anna. You meet, and this is just how it is, and I don't make the rules, but if you meet a red-headed whistling woman in the morning, go home. Go home. You're going to have a brutal day. A brutal day.
She has to be whistling.
Whistling. She has to be whistling. Oh, it's grand to meet her any time of the day, or meet any woman at all. But if she's whistling in the morning when you're heading out to do your day's work or do it, whatever you're doing, go back home, because it's.
What about if she's whistling in the evening or the afternoon?
It's never good. It's never good to meet a whistling woman, full stop. But
whistling
in the morning.
Woman or whistling red-haired woman?
Oh, sorry, a whistling red-haired woman, specifically. But it has been. It was never. Nobody. Apparently, folk were never fully comfortable with just women and whistling in general. So, you know, I mean, but it was typically. Oh, here we go. Here we go now. Here we go. It was.
Sorry, I'm not coming across again now. How about my fucking joke from last week?
Which one?
Fucking Joxer.
Oh yes. Jesus
Christ. Do you know what? I accept full responsibility for cursing the team.
Maybe you did. No, I think it's an ongoing thing. I think it's an ongoing thing from years gone by. I think it's an ongoing thing. I think it's back from 95 when the first World Cup happened. I think the World
Cup was in 1987.
Oh, sorry, you went professional in 95. I beg your pardon. Oh, was it? Yes,
80
you're
plus
right. 87, you're right, you're right. So
and
87,
91, 95, yeah.
was probably a black cat in an Adidas tracksuit or something that crossed in front of the bus and they rolled over it. And that was the end of that. We never have gotten beyond the quarterfinal as a result. There's a lot, I'll tell you, there's a hell of a lot of Pishogues out there.
Yeah.
And I would encourage anybody to go, you can go rooting online. Or maybe if you know players that were playing back then, the likes of Nick Popowell and these people that were playing back then, maybe ask them.
Ask him if they ever crossed if you're that's like Richard Harris. Do you know when Richard Harris used to turn up to the Munster games, he became a bad omen because they lost every time he came into the dressing room.
That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
He just stayed
yeah,
away. Well,
yeah.
look at.
Yeah.
I don't know what to tell you. I think you might be onto something there.
We'll have to figure it out. If anyone knows, let us know.
If
But
not, I will definitely develop an absolute fictitious story for next week. That'll be at least 5 to 10 minutes long.
great. Can't
Yeah.
wait.
Right. Coming up at the weekend, we have England play South Africa, France play, France, All Blacks play Argentina, and I don't know what else is going on, but I know Munster are playing the Sharks on Saturday on TG Car, which I'll be watching with the big Irish hit on me.
Where's that on?
It's on S4. It's on 5:15 on Saturday evening.
Oh, sorry, but is it in South Africa or is it in Ireland?
Oh, it's in Thomond. Yeah, it's in Ireland.
Oh, right.
If I can, I might even try and get to it. But I know I have an early day gig. But it'd be nice to get to it now. So
Last minute. Sure, I might be there.
You fucking playing. Turn around. Okay, it's Anna. Anna's playing. Great. Okay, fantastic. This is brilliant.
What?
Right.
Yeah.
You mind yourself.
I cannot believe that we've just had this episode.
I know,
Like,
but look.
Remember when I said to you last week, I was like, when I talk to you again, we'll either be on top of the world or we'll be in the low of the low. And I just cannot cope with the fact that it's the latter.
No, we cannot be the kids in this scenario. We have to be the parents in this scenario. Our listeners are our children, and we have to be big and strong for them. We have to put a warm blanket around them and tell them it's all going to be okay. Because they're looking to
be sad. It's okay to be sad.
100%, but we're going to soften the sadness for you. At the very least, we'll make it as comfortable as we possibly can. Pull the curtains a little bit. Oh, Christ, a whistling woman.
Time to sign off.
On that terrible note. Mind yourself. Good luck.
It's
the Banana and Bear